Kidnapped by her estranged husband, then taken to her own exorcism. You heard me right, an exorcism. Tonight, in her own words, a first-person account of that bizarre night in Stockton.
A family and a community thinking the worst and searching for answers. What happened to 87-year-old Patricia McDonald, last seen 9 days ago?
And move over chicken soup. There's some new flu-fighting food in town, what you should be eating to keep illness at bay.
This is News 10 at 5.
They start bathing me on oil. They made me swallow some of that oil. I start throwing up.
Whatever you're doing right now, it can wait. This story simply is unbelievable. This Stockton woman was kidnapped so her estranged husband could perform an exorcism. And now 2 men are in jail. One is the husband, the other is the victim's son.
She says she was kidnapped, driven an hour and a half away before the men tried to remove the devil from her soul. Here's News 10's Nick Monticelli with this exclusive story.
They were saying I had the 3 devils inside of me.
41-year-old Blanca Farias is still having a hard time comprehending exactly what happened to her. Saturday morning, her estranged husband and son convinced her to meet them at this Walmart in North Stockton. Saying they wanted to talk about the failing marriage at a nearby coffee shop, they then coaxed her into this truck and took off. Blanca immediately knew something wasn't right, though. She tried getting out. She says they held her down in the back seat while a pastor she knew drove. And it wasn't to any place nearby. They drove for an hour and a half, 47 miles from Stockton, all the way to another church in Bay Point.
They start bathing me on oil. They made me swallow some of that oil. I started throwing up, and this pastor was just saying, "You've got the devil, get off of her, get off of her, get off of her," until I fainted.
The obvious question is, why? Blanca and her estranged husband, 42-year-old Jose Magana Ferraris, have been separated since January. Blanca has since started seeing someone else.
They thought I was crazy, that really what's going on, because I'm not with you, I have the devil.
But the story keeps getting stranger. At one point before the exorcism, Blanca texted her boyfriend saying that she had been kidnapped, so Stockton police were looking for her. After the so-called exorcism, everyone got back into this truck and drove back to the family home in Stockton, where cops were waiting.
You're going to regret this? That's the only thing I said until we got here. I just got out of the truck and took me to a deputy. I got in his car, and then I didn't know nothing else.
On the spot, Jose and their son, Victor Farias, were arrested for kidnapping, conspiracy to commit a crime, and false imprisonment.
That's the most that it does hurt me, because it was still my husband, not being with him since January, and then my son following the steps of the dad.
Simply utter the word exorcism, and it immediately evokes images straight out of Hollywood. But movies like The Exorcist aren't the best illustration. Catholic sources tell us that while exorcisms still occur, they are extremely rare. 21st century Catholic officials say most demonic possessions are easily confused with mental illness. In fact, Vatican rules say mental illness must be ruled out by a doctor. Now, some believe this video you see here is an exorcism performed by Pope Francis in May. Pope Francis lays his hands on the man's head, who opens his mouth and begins panting and making strange noises, then relaxes. The Vatican has denied this was an exorcism, instead saying this was a prayer for the sick.
Other news we're following tonight: an infant is in critical condition and 4 people are in jail. And the only details we have on the child are that the baby was brought to an emergency room with critical injuries and then transferred to Oakland's Children's Hospital. Modesto police say that the baby had been living with relatives along with 4 other adults and 6 other kids. And the home where the baby was living had been converted into an illegal marijuana grow, and the entire family was living out of the family room and a converted closet. Police arrested Elizabeth Aguilar, Daniel Villacenter, Raul Aguilar, and Maria Hernandez, arrested on multiple charges. The 6 other children, ranging in age from 5 to 12, are now in protective custody.
New tonight, parts of Stockton remain in the dark after a late afternoon power outage. At one point, more than 100,000 PG&E customers were affected. At last check, that number was down to about 30,000. The power is expected to fully return soon, and right now the cause remains under investigation.
Well, the devastation continues to be uncovered in the Philippines tonight following Super Typhoon Haiyan. The Philippines was pounded by more heavy rain today in communities already wiped out by that super typhoon. More than 500,000 people are homeless right now, with some survivors forced to live among the dead and people increasingly desperate for food and water. The UN says it could be another day before they get to the last areas cut off by the storm.
We have no water here, and then we just doing all the resources, just like collecting rainwater, just for the use on emergency cases in our ERs and our OPD. So we need really water.
An estimated 11 million Filipinos are affected by the typhoon, and today the UN is appealing for more than $300 million in emergency aid.
The Transportation Security Agency officer killed during the mass shooting at Los Angeles International Airport early this month was remembered today. The memorial held at Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena was open to the public. Gerardo Hernandez was the first TSA officer killed in the line of duty. According to federal prosecutors, the suspected gunman appears to have targeted TSA officers. Paul Anthony Ciancia has been charged with 2 felony offenses, murder of a federal officer and commission of violence in an international airport. Former President Bill Clinton says President Barack Obama should find a way to let people keep their health coverage, even if it means changing the new insurance law. Clinton said that the president should, quote, honor the commitment that the federal government made to those people and let them keep what they got. The White House says it is working on changes that would ease the impact of the cancellations for some people, but the fixes under consideration are administrative actions, not congressional changes to the law.
She fought for women's rights and for education. She's a mother, a grandmother, and a good friend. Well, 9 days have gone by now since anybody has seen Patricia McDonald. And as News 10's Dina Kupfer tells us, her family is ready to accept her fate. They just need to know what happened to her.
Where do you think your mom is?
I believe she's deceased.
A family and a community thinking the worst.
Well, everybody on the street is really worried. We think we're never going to see her again.
87-year-old Patricia McDonald has been missing for 9 days. She was last seen leaving her home on 10th Avenue in Curtis Park back on November 3rd.
It's really shaken people up quite a bit.
Nancy Stefani may be the last person to have seen Patricia Sunday morning.
A little after 10:30, I was out in front, and she was pulling out of her driveway. She waved to me as she usually does.
She said she drove off toward Franklin Avenue in her 2000 Toyota Camry like this one. No one has seen Patricia or her car since.
I just don't see her getting in the car and taking off.
We spoke with Patricia's daughter, Scotty Setzer, over the phone from San Diego. She admits her mother's memory is fading and she has heart problems. Her medication was left at her home.
It's hard for us who know her so well as being the unbelievably sweet, gracious, helpful woman she was.
Patricia was instrumental in the fight for women's advocacy issues and education during her time in the legislature in the 80s.
She helped tens of thousands of people in this community.
A woman who fought so hard for others is now being fought for.
Something untold happened. I believe it's a mistake.
Presumably, someone knows what happened to Patricia McDonald. Fearing the worst, her family achingly begs for closure.
They'll just say something. Just say something to somebody.
In Sacramento, Dina Kupfer, News 10.
Well, the Sacramento Police Department is investigating McDonald's disappearance, but right now they have no leads, and so they're asking anybody who might have some information to contact the police right away.
Nearly 50 high school girls in Hawaii are banned from cheerleading. Their school's investigating cyberbullying allegations. The superintendent says they know not everyone on McKinley High School's pep squad is a bully, but decided to suspend the entire team to ensure the safety of all students. The girls claim they're innocent. They say they haven't seen any form of bullying. Some parents are upset, claiming that the district did not respond the same way when bullying allegations surfaced in the football and volleyball programs.
We're not against the punishment handed down, but what we bring to attention is the inequities between what's going on in that school between the programs.
The school's principal is expected to announce which students will be punished next week.
SeaWorld is fighting to get its trainers back into the water during killer whale performances. Well, federal officials banned trainers from being inside the tanks after veteran trainer Dawn Brancho was mauled to death by killer whale Tilikum. SeaWorld is appealing that decision, arguing that federal rules only stop companies from exposing workers to known hazards. SeaWorld says it's done a lot to minimize the risks to its trainers, and without the performances between trainers and the whales, SeaWorld says its business could die.
I think it is a legitimate argument. Again, they're taking the position that this isn't just the way that we do work. It's our product.
They believe that federal officials have no more right to stop their business than they could demand that NASCAR put on some speed limits during its races.
Driving while surfing has become a huge problem on our roadways. The USA Today is reporting a study by State Farm that found that 1 in 4 drivers are going online while they drive. Researchers blame some of this increase on the growing number of smartphones. Another interesting find in this survey is that while there are more people going online while driving, the number of people texting behind the wheel has not increased as fast.
Hundreds of people are snatching up bobblehead dolls of infamous Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, signed by the embattled politician himself. Up to 300 people lined up at City Hall today in Toronto, Canada, to buy the Robbie Bobby dolls for $20 each, with the proceeds going to charity. The line included both supporters and opponents of the mayor, who admitted last week that he smoked crack.
The American Heart Association says 1 in 3 adults should be on this type of medication. Tonight, a dramatic shift in opinion about who is really affected by high cholesterol.
I'm shopping for groceries on company time. Actually, I'm getting the best foods to fight the flu. Tell you which ones coming up.
Also coming up, miss your freeway exit? No problem. That's what reverse is for, right?
We are into the cold and flu season big time. And besides washing your hands repeatedly and exercising, what else can you do?
Well, how about some flu-fighting foods? News 10's Walt Gray finds out what those are.
We can't guarantee you won't get the flu, but if you eat right, you'll put up the good fight. We're talking about foods rich with antioxidants to boost your immune system. A prime example, go green, especially dark green vegetables to fight respiratory infections. And almonds, a rich source of the antioxidant vitamin E to help you fight off viral infections. Peanuts are great too.
This is my 5th year.
Nutritionist Lynn Hanna says eating healthy isn't something you start doing during flu season.
What it means is that when you have those nutrients available to your body on a regular basis, you have the capacity for your immune system to function at its optimal level of performance. So you can kind of help prevent maybe being susceptible to flu-type bugs and that kind of thing.
Mom always said eat your carrots. This orange, crunchy goodness is rich in beta-carotene, which fights respiratory infections. Tomatoes are just like citrus in terms of fighting colds and flu with the extra vitamin C. Just one tomato has 40% of your daily vitamin C, and it's fine as sauce on your pasta too. Do you like a hot beverage? Tea is great, especially green, black, and oolong blends. They have powerful antioxidants. Decaf tea is fine too. The pharmacist also recommends eating healthy and getting the flu shot.
And all those things help. When you're taking a look at vitamin C, you're taking a look at potassium, you're taking a look at antioxidants, you're taking a look at just a healthy diet. You have your best defense against the flu.
Also on the list of flu fighters are mushrooms rich with selenium to fight viral infections. It'll keep your flu from getting worse. And yogurt, loaded with probiotics, the beneficial bacteria, strengthens your immune system. And lastly, chicken soup. Still recommended, though nobody officially and medically can guarantee us why. Walt Gray, News 10.
Doctors are also calling for a lot more Americans to consider taking statin drugs to lower cholesterol. The guidelines, the first in a decade for preventing heart attacks and strokes, come from the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology. Under the guidelines, 1/3 of all adults, they say, should consider taking the statin drugs. There's a new formula that measures risk, and it includes a lot of factors besides cholesterol.
When you miss your freeway exit, most people take the next one. Not this woman. She decides to just throw it in reverse, and not just for a couple of feet.
I told him that I found the definition horrifying.
And this high school sophomore is taking it all the way to the top dog at Apple. What word she's desperately trying to get that company to redefine. Caught on camera, perhaps the world's worst driver? I don't know. See what you think. A woman in China apparently missed her exit, and instead of taking the next exit up, she decided to back up on the freeway. And we're not talking about backing up a couple of feet. Cameras captured her in reverse for 1.25 miles. Frankly, I don't think that's the worst driver, because if you could back up 1.25 miles,
that's pretty good, actually.
Doing all right.
Well, I've been to China, and the traffic is so bad that maybe it was worth it to her to back up and take that exit instead of reroute.
We're just playing. That's not a Caltrans camera on I-5, but you're doing pretty good there.
Yes.
You would never see that around here, would you, Monica?
No, I don't know. Not caught on camera like that, probably, or else we'd be showing that across the world. Well, we had a lot of cloud cover for today. Our morning low started off in the mid to lower 50s. It was a very warm start to the day, so we got a nice jump start on those afternoon highs. Right now we're at 69 degrees for Sacramento, 67 in Stockton, 65 for both Modesto and Marysville, and at South Lake Tahoe, 56 degrees. Our highs today, low 70s, slightly above average, and that's despite the fact we saw all the cloud cover move through for today. Low 70s for Auburn and Placerville, and then for San Francisco, 70, and in the high country, low to mid 60s. No official recording of any precipitation moving through for today. A few sprinkles here and there for the foothills and higher elevations, but that's about it. So lots of cloud cover, though, from this system. It just couldn't produce the moisture that we needed so desperately at this point in the season. So what month averages the most rain in the valley? It's actually January, so we have some time. Downtown Sacramento averages 4.18 inches. Normally in November, we see about 2.5 inches of rain. You can catch more on the information on how our drought situation is shaping up and when we need to be concerned. You can check that article online, news10.net. Darla Givens really lays it out on when we need to start to be concerned about this. So high pressure is in control of our weather. We've got the low to the north of us here. It is going to bring some moisture to the Pacific Northwest. We will be clear and warm heading into our Wednesday forecast, and then another low starts to approach, but again, under this ridge of high pressure, it's just really having a tough time getting any moisture to us. So breezy weather ahead for our Thursday forecast into Friday. Another weather system after that. So they're lined up out there. It's just not producing much for the valley. May for the Sierra, though. Highs will be in the 60s for tomorrow afternoon in the Sierra. Overnight lows start us off in the 20s. Again, mostly sunny skies for that midweek forecast. The 5-day outlook will bring in a slight chance of some snow showers for the Sierra on Saturday. Now that's good too. It helps the watershed certainly. 67 degrees for San Francisco for the midweek forecast. We're up to the mid 70s for Fairfield and also Antioch. The northern San Joaquin Valley cooler tomorrow morning without the cloud cover. We'll see those lows drop down into the 40s with afternoon highs warming into the mid 70s. We'll see that play out as well for the Sacramento region. Highs in general right around 74 to 76 degrees throughout the valley. All right, that 7-day forecast will stay pretty warm on Thursday. Again, breezy conditions developing late Thursday through Friday, and then a dip in temperatures again on Saturday into Sunday. We're in the 60s. At least we're bringing in that chance for snow showers in the Sierra on Saturday. Right now, though, it looks dry for the valley.
All right, skiers hoping for some snow. Yeah. You know, they all like to be open around Thanksgiving.
Give us something at this point, yeah.
Thanks, Monica.
Well, the Harlem Globetrotters had to add another trick to their arsenal, escaping death after that mishap. An update on the players' condition coming up next. A Harlem Globetrotter narrowly avoided getting his skull crushed when the basket crashed down on him. This happened during a game in Honduras. Check it out. William Bullard was performing an acrobatic alley-oop dunk during a game last week when the basket gave way and toppled onto him on the court, missing his head by inches, but as you can see there, he did suffer a nasty cut.
Man. A Massachusetts teenager says she was horrified to see a negative definition for the word gay when she looked it up on her MacBook. So she decided to do something about it. Last week, 15-year-old Becca Gorman was writing an essay on gay rights for class when she looked up the word gay in her Apple dictionary on her laptop. One of the 3 definitions read, quote, stupid, foolish. So she took her complaint straight to Apple's CEO.
I told him that I found the definition horrifying and that I'm sure he did too, being a gay-friendly company.
To her surprise, Apple responded within minutes, calling the teenager at her home. The representative said Apple would look into the problem, but the dictionary has yet to change. His motto is, I don't teach music, I teach young people with music.
Performing arts teacher Glenn Kane has been inspiring the minds of students through music for 3 decades now. And his dedication is making him November's Teacher of the Month.
For Gold Trail School performing arts teacher Glenn Kane, the sound of success is evident. with every note his students hit.
The class I'm teaching at the moment is my favorite class because they're all at different stages and doing different things.
Kane has been teaching music for more than 3 decades here in Placerville. He says his passion for music started at the age of 10 in public school. He says he wanted to give right back after he graduated college.
I wanted to come back and work in the public school system, doing for kids, give the kids the opportunity, the same thing that the opportunity I got.
And through his teaching, students say they're excelling, and not just in his class.
Ever since I've been playing music, I've been getting higher grades, and I've been doing so much better in all the other things I do outside of school.
He's really funny. He likes to dance when we play the song really well, and he really expresses how well we play it.
They're in their developing years in reading and in math and in science, and so these areas really are connected in their brain development through the learning to play an instrument.
Kane's music is not only a hit among his students, he's also receiving statewide praise. His concert and jazz bands have won numerous competitions and has performed at Disneyland, Pier 39, and the state capitol. And he soon may have another award on his resume, a Grammy.
We were narrowed down to in the top 25, so we're one of the semifinalists now, and that's just a cool thing to be able to be recognized nationally for a little school here.
A school and community, he says, supports the music program, but on this day, they're showing their love and support to him, which is why Glenn Kane is November's Teacher of the Month.
I would like to join in News 10 and congratulate your teacher for being named Teacher of the Month and present him with a check for $1,000.
In Placerville, Tamani Lewis, News 10.
Very nice. If you know a teacher you think deserves to be honored as a News 10 Teacher of the Month, you can visit our website, news10.net. Just click on the community page for more details. Month after month, fabulous teachers out there. We'd love to give them a moment in the spotlight.
All right, thanks for being here. We'll see you tonight at 6.
News 10 is everywhere you want to be, including iPad. Download the app today, free at the iTunes Store.